The Ginetta GT Academy is on the Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch this weekend, and race 2 of the weekend is about to get underway. The grid is formed. Very shortly the cars are going to be released onto the formation lap. No sooner said than done. Everybody trying to rattle through the timetable here. Very strict curfew at Brands, and so cars now are released. It's going to be fascinating to see what pans out of the second race of the weekend with the drivers then making the run up through paddock and then on towards the Druids hairpin. The GT Academy catering for new drivers, less experienced drivers, and Nick White, who's been a multiple race winner this year, has Ravi Ramyeed for company on the front row. Ravi Ramyeed a bit more experienced after a few seasons of racing BMWs. Ed Akers lines up next with Matt Shaw for company on the second row of the grid. Then you've got John Carney and Tom Shelley starting 6th. 7th on the grid, Julian Wankling, and then Mackenzie Walker is 8th ahead of Mark Ellman, and then Amy Tomlinson, part of the Ginetta owning family. Emma Tomlinson comes next ahead of Paul Livesey. Then it is Charlotte Lowe and Lucy Tomlinson with the last two on the grid. The experienced Phil McGarty, experienced in Ginetta terms at least, had a couple of seasons of racing in Ginettas, and Max Rattel, a surname familiar to GT fans, and Stefan Rattel's son making his race debut this weekend and learning and improving with every passing lap as the cars then now thread their way down through Hawthorns. They'll slot into place on the 1x1 staggered grid. And Nick White in the Raceway Motorsport car to slot into position on that pole position. So he's going to be a man to watch, certainly. But for Ravi Ramyeed, who's been another driver this year, who's been quick, he's another potential winner. So the fight between them is going to be well worth watching. Max Rattel I was talking about, starting at the rear of the grid, and he did his ARDS test this week, and did his first laps on the Grand Prix circuit yesterday. So this is second of a race. Yesterday it was Nick White who won from Ravi Ramyeed, and then John Carney in third place. Well, John for this 5th on the grid, so work to do. This is Max Rattel's view. He's going to start at the rear of the grid, but don't expect him necessarily to stay there indefinitely, because as the confidence grows, then he'll be a bit more of a force to be reckoned with. So the drivers now making their way into place. And this Ginetta GT Academy, the championship then being led by Nick White after yesterday by 20 points from Ravi Ramyeed, who's lost 15 of those points in terms of penalties. 9 race wins now to Nick White, 11 to Ravi Ramyeed. They are the two at the front of the grid then as we are set to go racing. 5-second board shown. Drivers now look towards the lighting gantry. Lights go red, lights will go out to get things underway. It is blast off, lots of wheel spin from Ramyeed. The car fishtails a little bit, and that enables Ed Akers to get up the inside and round the outside as well. Matt Shaw as they dive down towards paddock. There's contact and Ramyeed spins, and he takes others with him as 3 at least get involved, 2 in the gravel, one of whom is Ravi Ramyeed. There's another car right on the edge of the road, and all that rather was Ramyeed induced, I'm afraid to say. He tried to cut across the front of the traffic, it didn't work, and he's ended up being fired out into the gravel, and potentially, given how close they both are to the edge of the road, John Carney is the other one that he's taken with him. This might well be a safety car period as the field now battles its way onto Cooper Straight. A look further back on the inside there to try to gain ground. Emma Tomlinson looking for position. The safety car is on standby, look in the background. So it's not been called to the pits. It awaits, and the boards and flags, I suspect, are going to be issued in a moment. And that has just happened in front of me. So the safety car is indeed deployed, and Nick White's advantage is going to disappear. They'll all bunch up behind him, but what this now gives us is the chance for everybody to have another fight once we go back racing again. So it is Nick White looking for win number 10, and Ed Akers behind him. The race wins this year shared between White, Ramyeed and John Carney, who has had one of them, but John, another of those drivers now in the gravel bed. So big disappointment for him. Kind of the innocent party, really. He was trying to keep out of the way, drive his own race, and all of a sudden errant cars, or an errant car, came across the front of him. So with the gravel bed somewhat littered, the drivers come out of Clark Curve up towards the timing line, and Nick White then in number 57, race leader. This is what it looked like. Ravi Ramyeed off the line, it all started to unravel, didn't it? Because as he accelerated away, the car, now you'll see, got a lot of wheel spin. It snapped one way, snapped the other. He couldn't quite prevent Akers from going through. Shaw went round the outside, and then Ravi Ramyeed made a dive up the inside. There was contact, but all it served to do was put him in strife. Off he went towards the gravel. John Carney going with him. Here it is from another angle as the car's headed up towards paddock. So have a look at Ravi Ramyeed. He's now gone to the inside line. He's fourth, tries to get past Matt Shaw. There is contact, but the bite a bit. He slides across the front. John Carney, with nowhere to go, gets ensnared by the gravel bed as well. John Carney's car with a bit of damage is moved away. Ravi Ramyeed's car remains in the gravel. And all of that, Lewis McGlade, has now given Nick White the chance, I suspect, of a rather easier run to the flag once we go racing than he might hitherto have expected. He's very much in the box seat, looking for a 10th win of the year now. Yeah, and certainly so. It's been quite the run, quite the battle between White and Ramyeed, and unfortunately, I think it was 5 points separating them coming into this race. That not looking quite as strong from them. No, it had grown a bit after yesterday, hadn't it? I think up to 20 points, but Nick White's advantage now is going to get much, much bigger. Ravi Ramyeed still puzzles me, is in this, given that he's done a fair bit of club-level BMW racing in recent seasons in the, what was quite strong for a few years, production BMW championship for the old, very early 3 Series models that came out in profusion for a few seasons. They were all destroyed. No, that's unfair, but quite a lot of them got battered about. Matt Shaw is the leading rookie and currently runs in 3rd place overall. That's a good effort. I know we've not had that many corners of the race before we went yellow, but that's not a bad start to 20 minutes of racing around here for him. No, of course, one yesterday actually had a 10-second time penalty for starting out of position, so not being in the correct starting position. It's obviously very easy to do around here. We've said before, there's a few different ways. It could be basically like rolling forward. It could just be not in the right position, left to right, front to back, but it is what it is. These are the points, by the way, for how it was before the start of this race. So Nick White just 5 points clear of Ravi Ramyeed. So incredibly close. Unfortunately, it won't be the case after this. When you've had a retirement like that, when you've been sent off into the gravel trap, that could be championship done, sadly enough. Yeah, Ravi Ramyeed struggling in a sense because of having given away 15 points through penalties. So yes, he should be much, much further up the road. Yeah, forgive me, the number I was looking at was before the penalties taken into account in part. But Ravi Ramyeed will be kicking himself because, again, points have gone begging. It does rather prove, doesn't it, how consistent you need to be to win championships, no matter what the category is. And increasingly these days, as race officials try to clamp down on driving standards by issuing championship penalty points, it's not just what you do in terms of a race result, it's also keeping out of trouble and keeping away from other cars that are going to help. Well, look at the, speaking to consistency, look at the Pro Tire Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship, because second in that championship, Davies been hanging on, hasn't got a race win. Everyone, like pretty much everyone else in that category, has a race win. Of course, Luke Reed has the most of them. But it's about remaining consistent. It's about keeping on the racetrack. We see it time and time again. You don't have to win every single race. You just need to win the field. Obviously, you know that from your neck of the woods over British Touring Cars and stuff. It's just. Well, Colin Turkington did it with 1 win a few years ago. Ash Sutton's had, what, 9 already? And he's keeping on banking the wins. Yeah, Keke Rosberg's World Championship came with 1 win in 1982, didn't it? So, yeah, bank points, keep out of trouble. Nick White understands this, and he's going to be the man in charge to control the restart. Might need a new windscreen by the end of the weekend. What do you reckon? Yeah, I mean, so there was this crack on the windscreen yesterday. Obviously, race control are very aware of it. They've looked over it. They've investigated, seen it's absolutely fine. Because I did note it yesterday. I thought they might have required replacing it, but clearly it's structurally sound, and it could be that it looks worse than it is. Like it might not be all the way through the glass. Just kind of. Unfortunately, you can't get auto glass to come out and fix that one, sadly enough. But still, he leads the way, so it's fine. It's only clear road ahead. And if it pops out, well, there's air conditioning. Yeah, so, exactly. You need that on this weekend. There is a regulation, or there certainly used to be, that if you take out the front screen, you've got to do the same for the back.
Really?
And there was this marvellous bit of footage years ago from Bathurst when Peter Brock had a cracked windscreen and out came the front, and he was called into the pit lane by the officials. Mechanic jumped in, hung off the roll cage, kicked the rear screen out, and out he went. It was a very, very quick pit stop.
Oh my goodness.
Whether that was happening in Ginetta's, I'd rather doubt. Anyway, you can
was
see
that in the 1000?
Yeah. In the, oh gosh, what, 86 I think it would have been. In the days when it was still Group A. Right, Ravi Ramneed's car's out of the gravel, but all of that has rather eaten into the first half of the race, hasn't it? Because even if we were to get going on this lap, we'd be at round about 11 minutes or so still to go, and therefore the first half of the race has largely been under safety car. Yeah,
we've seen this quite a lot from various Ginetta Racing over the weekend, that we've actually had quite a few safety cars. We had a red flag in one of the races yesterday, I think. It was the Pro Tyre Cup, but I'm not sure. The Ginetta GT Academy was actually the only one yesterday that didn't have safety car intervention. Alas, today, straight away, turn 1, and the safety car comes out. It's so easy around here, though. Yeah. We were talking about this yesterday with Harry Benjamin, that if you have an incident around here, if you get into a gravel trap around here, they just hold you. You just can't get out of them without some form of assistance. And it's exactly what we've seen in this race. It's just the gravel traps eat cars.
Yeah, it's true. And the other problem is that safety cars breed safety cars. Yes. So you bunch them all up, fire them off again, and you never know. The driver at the very back then, that there was a third car that got involved in that and dropped away. Just trying to work out who the third man, as it were, was that got involved in the skirmish. But trying to play catch-up. At the moment, the fastest lap of the race has been done by Max Rattel, who is last, but that's largely because he was pressing on to catch up. But yes, take a screen grab of this for his dad. Max currently is the fastest, but that's because he was catching up to the queue. And are we going to go racing this time? The lights are out on top of the safety car. That means that Nick White, as the race leader, lags back a little bit, but Ed Akers in second place needs to be on his toes here.
Certainly so. We'll see what White can do. Coming through that final corner, Ed Akers on the attack. Of course, Shaw in there as well. The leader in the rookie category was the leader yesterday. Obviously still won that category despite having a 10-second penalty, but that is a perfect restart from Nick White on the race down towards the first corner. Ed Akers just didn't have anything to do with that. Meanwhile, we do have a move from Elman straight down the inside. That was a brilliant move at Paddock Hill. So brave.
It was, wasn't it? And especially on tyres that have lost a little bit of temperature. So a big dive there through on the inside by Mark Elman. And number 31, look, Paul Livesey is under attack because the recovering Tom Shelley, who was the other driver involved in the dramas at the first corner, you can see a little bit of damage on the front of the green and yellow car, gets up the inside, and there, having run onto the dirt, Paul Livesey is in trouble. And Ed Akers, look, has junked a couple of places coming out of Graham Hill Bend. So from second place, as he was, Ed Akers falls back to fourth. Small mistake, and it's got big consequences.
Yeah, I did hear the tyre squeal, so I'm assuming that was that must have been Ed Akers. Just like you say, sliding it in a little bit too much into Graham Hill, costing him a couple of positions, and now it's the rookie Matt Short who runs in second position in this race, 1.6 behind Nick White, who's checking out to yet another victory this season. Ed Akers feeling the pressure, running out two wheels as they head through Hawthorns and now through Westfield Bend. Oh, there's been a big crash though. There's been a big one. That is the 31 of Livesey. You've got one of the Tomlinsons in that. I think that's Emma Tomlinson. And there's someone off further down the road.
There is, you're right. So one in the gravel, which isn't a great sign, or half into the gravel. So what did I say about safety cars, breeding safety cars? They're all bunched up. And here we go again. 9.5 minutes are on the clock, but might well be that another interruption comes. In fairness to Nick White, he's doing what is required here, getting away. That car limps on, broken suspension and all. That's Lucy Tomlinson.
That looked uncomfortable, is all I can say. Obviously, the suspension's plucked off on the front left. There's Shaw defending. Look to the inside from Walker. They might all assume there is a safety car on the horizon. So it's kind of one of the things like you want to get through straight away before that safety car comes out. But Shaw's able to hang on right now. Ed Akers back into the mix.
This is the view from Akers' car. So as they come out of Druids, then it is Mackenzie Walker up ahead, who's had a very good run, 8th on the grid, up into 3rd place. And there, walking away, is Emma Tomlinson. So that's in the gravel. Lucy Tomlinson got involved, and there was a third one, wasn't there, that we'd identified.
I think that must have been Lucy Tomlinson, because obviously Livesey and Emma Tomlinson were the ones that were there. I think Lucy Tomlinson might have been the other one that got away.
Yeah. And he is yet to arrive, Paul Livesey, in the pit lane if he's limping on. We'll find out in a moment because they're about to get to the incident zone. And even as they do so, keeping an eye to the gantry on the start line to see if any boards and flags are coming, but that car is very close to the edge of the road, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they like I say, they want to do it under double wave yellows as much as possible, but now the safety car comes out as they have gone past the incident zone. 8 minutes left to go in this race, and the safety car will rejoin the Ginetta GT Academy and will lead the field round once more.
Safety car is now 4th in the championship, I think. After that. So, yes, everybody slows down, and once more, cars will have to be hoiked out of the way. That, for Emma Tomlinson, limping into the pit lane, has not been a comfortable drive. At least she's brought the car back, but that looks decidedly, as you say, horrible. And we go safety car once again. It's kind of the race that never was this at the moment. We've barely had a brace of racing laps.
Yep, I can feel that in my back watching her come into the pit lane. That is uncomfortable, and unfortunately will certainly not be back out in this race. Hopefully we'll have that one repaired for what will be the last race of the day.
First job for the mechanics is to go and pick up her fillings.
Yes.
Which will be shaken out on the inlet.
Yeah, hopefully they'll stay in the car though. We'll have to wait, so they might be dropped all over the circuit, so it might be a lot of work for those. But yes, anyway, we just 7 minutes left to go. Hopefully we will get the safety car into the pit lane before the end of the race, but it might just be a little shootout. At which point it would be the last time we'd see the safety car, but I could imagine there being a couple of double waved yellows being viewed at some point in the race. The safety car's not moving though.
No, and the drivers are waiting for it, and that's how is that possible? Please tell me how it is possible to deploy safety car conditions and the safety car not be instructed to enter the racetrack. I do not understand.
That is bizarre. Did they stall us? Surely not. I don't know. That is very odd. Honestly, I've never seen that.
Normally there is an instruction that says safety car boards and flags, which is an instruction to the marshals around the circuit, and then safety car proceed to circuit. And maybe that's the instruction that didn't come, but I just don't get it. I really don't. Right, this is the replay, Lewis, of what happened.
Yeah, so obviously we'll only see the final part of it. You'll see it as we zoom out. You can hear it. Whoa, there was contact there. So that was Livesey, that's the one that's been left in the circuit. That was Emma Tomlinson that's been pushed out. And that is where Lucy Tomlinson got that incident. So kind of just avoiding the incident, coming out the other side of it, and then Lucy Tomlinson going into the barrier. And that's how we now have our answers.
Yes, trying to avoid making contact with her sister and putting herself into the barriers. Paul Livesey, the one that was knocked into the spin by Lucy Tomlinson, and he did get going again and has rejoined the queue. Max Rattel in the 11th place, having gained after those dramas. Right, clock ticks on down. 5.5 minutes behind the invisible safety car, which has still not yet joined the road, incidentally. But anyway, it's part for everybody to admire it.
It can't be fought from the championship, though. It's fine.
Oh no, it's losing points. You're quite right.
It's losing critical points.
It's lost a lap.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, Nick White is now the safety car. I will say, so in the rookie category, because I was kind of talking about this yesterday, is there is a battle between the Tomlinsons. Of course, Amy Tomlinson was actually the head of that battle coming into this on 320 points, coming into the weekend rather. Then Emma Tomlinson was 16 points behind, and Lucy Tomlinson a little bit further back from that. Amy Tomlinson will be taking a big advantage in that battle for what is second in the rookie category. So a little bit of a fight between the Tomlinsons, and unfortunately it's become a lot easier for one of them.
Now then, we have got just under 5 minutes to go. I think the safety car is on track. Yes, it is. So it's condescended to join us now. There it is. And the field continues to circulate. It is another of those discussion points for a safety car period, whether you would prefer a modern day circuit where there's lots of runoff and you spend most of your day talking about track limit penalties, or an old school circuit with gravel where cars are stopped and then need to be brought out of the way. In the good old days, cars would end up on a grass verge, a yellow flag would be there, people would slow accordingly, and races could carry on. In what, 2-3 decades ago, barely got any interruptions. Now a race meeting without interruptions is a rarity. Gravel on the road as well. Recovery vehicle sets off, having brought the car out of the gravel. I don't think the car of Lucy Tomlinson was damaged, but it has. Sorry, Emma Tomlinson was damaged, but it has now been pulled out of the gravel bed, and so hopefully you might even be able to go this time? It rather depends, doesn't it, on whether that flatbed can stop anywhere on the Grand Prix loop or needs to come back to the Indy circuit.
Yeah, with the lap times they're doing, by the way, under safety car, if they get back racing now, we'll have 2 laps of racing. If we don't get back racing now, we will still be able to have a single lap of racing if the safety car comes in on the next one, although I believe it is pulling away.
Lights out.
Is that, who was that? Was that Paul Livesey that's the one coming in? Oh no, it's one of the, it's Emma Thompson.
Yeah, out of the gravel.
You're absolutely right. Yep, no, I wasn't paying attention. Classic.
We should be good to go though, Lewis. So safety car in, and it's going to be, all being well, a 2-lap blast up to the end.
Well, Shaw continues to find himself working further and further up the order, courtesy of mistakes. The last time it was from Ed Akers, and now Shaw finds himself in second. I don't think he'll get the same opportunity to pass White in the same way, who leads the race on the restart. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, and once again on the attack. We saw it from Elman on the previous start, getting a fantastic move, and this one coming in as well. Wantling out wide going through Paddock Hill, and that should be a great move from Elman's got to finish it off coming up towards Druids, and doesn't do so. Really good defence there from Wantling.
And also have a look at Tom Shelley next up, because he's been quick this season. He has a go on the inside line down towards Graham Hill Bend, although that door is closed by Mark Elman. So Shelley, who normally has the pace, can't find a way through as yet. Akers is back up to third there, look, because there's been a small mistake made by Walker. So Mackenzie Walker has got a problem. Not only has he lost a place, he heads on to the Indy circuit, and he has got a problem, and that's going to give Max Rattel 10th place. So he'll be into the top 10 on his second ever race.
There we go. And I've got to say, yesterday to be able to get to the finish for Max Rattel was really, really impressive. Today it's more about stepping even further forward. I kind of get the feeling, you know, that it's a lot of pressure for Max Rattel to be going under, and now has to defend from Paul Livesey as well over the final point. So at least, yeah, you're going to get some proper racing experience in there. I say big name for the bottom motorsports, you say.
But he might get bumped out of the top 10. So now Max is going to stick out his elbows and try and hang on to 10th place. Riding then with Ed Akers, comes down towards Clearways, and they will start the last lap of the race this time around. The flying lap yesterday was a 1 minute 40, so there's less than a lap time left in the race now.
Certainly so, and as they come across, White continues to lead. I think that gap has gone out now to just over a second as they come across the line. It certainly will be, just about 1 second and a tiny, tiny little bit over Matt Shaw. Ed Akers, Wantling, Elman all close as Shelley once again is going to try and find a way past Elman. Out wide though Wantling goes, that could open up an opportunity. It's a big lock up there from Ed Akers, almost into the rear end of Matt Shaw, able to get this one back onto the road, but that was very nearly a large crash.
That's called headbutting, wasn't it? So Ed Akers nearly making contact, comes down towards Graham Hill Bend. Mistake there. You saw the car deviate from the line. It goes wide into the corner. And so now Matt Shaw has got away slightly from number 20, and Ed Akers falls back as they round Surtees onto the Grand Prix loop. Meanwhile, Nick White is heading for a 10th win of the season, and he's done it all absolutely right.
Yep, just played his cards right through this race. Dealt with the safety cars really well, dealt with the drama really well. To be honest, just dealt with the race really well. That's kind of how you want to see it from a driver. Like I say, it's the consistency. It's just picking off the race at the time and not fighting with anyone, really. Just check it out.
More and more drivers with squealy tyres, but with only a couple of corners to go. Nick White then from pole position. It's going to be admittedly not that many racing laps, but a good win nonetheless. And for the championship, with Ravi Rami not scoring, it gives him an absolute boost.
Well, into the final corner. Like you say, it was 5 points coming into this, that Nick White's advantage over Ravi Rami, but now it will go out even further. White will come through the final corner. You're absolutely right. Yet another win, number 10 for the season, and the championship lead will look even stronger now. Those final few laps, he pulled out 2 seconds over Shaw, who will cross the line in second overall, but of course another win in the rookie category. But look at how close this is. Oh my goodness, that was, actually it was Emma Tomlinson going a lap down. Never mind, it wasn't actually that close. It was Wantling and Shelley, Amy Tomlinson all in behind as the final few finishes. I think there was quite a drama at the end there from Elman, and unfortunately Max Rattel didn't get 10th.
He didn't, no, because into the top 10 came the recovering Paul Livesey. But Nick White has taken yet another victory, 1.9 seconds being that winning margin, and he got the fastest lap of the race as well. So pretty much every box ticked: win, pole, fastest lap. And the bonus, if you like, is that his championship rival Ravi Ramid was in the gravel on that first corner. The drivers then come round the back of the pits. Look at all the rubbish that's been scooped up into the front of Matt Shaw's car. He takes another rookie category win from Amy Tomlinson, and then the third of the rookies is Charlotte Lowe.
I will say, there's a lot of records being broken this weekend. Most notably is the temperature. I did have a little look earlier, and I don't know if it was 100% true, but it was the last highest temperature on this day was 20 degrees. It's 28 out there at the moment, and so it's been difficult for all of the drivers, including Nick White, who took yet another victory. Matt Shaw, like you said, won in the rookie category, finishes second overall. Ed Akers, Julianne Wantling, then Thomas Shelley. Amy Tomlinson finishing runner-up in the rookie category and sixth overall, with Phil McGarty, Mark Elman dropping a little bit back towards the end of the race, and Charlotte Lowe rounding out the podium in the rookie category and ninth overall. Paul Livesey getting himself inside the top 10. Mackenzie Walker finishing in 11th position, with Max Rattel dropping back just a little bit into 12th. Emma Tomlinson, Lucy Tomlinson, Ravi Ramyeed and John Kearney all retiring from the race. That incident on the start of the race. We'll take a look at highlights as well from the 2023 Ginetta GT Academy round number 22, and there was drama straight from the start. Nick White starting from pole position alongside Ravi Ramyeed, and that drag race up towards the line. It was a poor start though from Ravi Ramyeed, as he would drop back into the clutches behind Ed Akers, making his way through into second position. And then there was this contact. Ramyeed sent around, being collected by a couple of other cars, and he would be into the gravel trap, second in the championship, and a big delay to his race. Nick White was the one that was in control though from Ed Akers. Course, was under pressure from Shaw, the leader in the rookie category. They were heading their way through to restart the race, but it wasn't long before there was even more drama. A little bit of contact between Thomas Shelley as they would come down the hill towards Druid, before a bold move from Shelley straight down the inside, working his way back up the order after being caught up in that first lap incident. There was this drama as well, as we'll see it come through the background of shot. Unfortunately, a big bit of contact, Paul Livesey down the inside of Emma Tomlinson. Contact between them, Lucy Tomlinson trying to avoid all of this and getting straight into the barrier, breaking the suspension on the car. On board with Ed Akers, who dropped back from second position into fourth, was able to go himself up into third position after issues late on in the race, as he was working his way up the order. That issue for Walker. Yet another win for Nick White, as he pulls out to a comfortable championship lead now, with only a handful of races left to go.